Oh, and the weed sings lullabies to the savages hanging on the wind. Hello everyone and welcome back. For today's workout we're going to be dealing with internal textures, and for today we're starting with elastic body. So you can start to get moving in whichever way feels comfortable for you right now, and I will inform you a bit more what we're going to do today. So we're going to be doing this in 3 different steps for 3 minutes each, 3 times through. So how we're going to start is feeling into your body and becoming elastic. So simply bringing your mind into all the different parts of your body, all the different structures and textures, and transforming them into an elastic texture. This might seem a bit abstract, but I promise you with time it will become more clear to you what we're doing. And for this workout, more than for any other workout we've been doing, it's actually really unimportant how it looks. So yes, you can watch me to get some kind of inspiration, or also so that you know that we're in this together. But more than that, this is really a research into the textures of your own body. Becoming elastic. So how I usually do this process is that I travel with my mind through my body, and I am on the lookout for parts of myself that do not feel elastic. And when I find such a place, I stay in that place with my mind and my movement, and stay and become elastic. So you can really be quite rigorous with this, going from body part to body part, changing the texture of your inner world. And believe it or not, we always have a kind of inner texture. We're maybe aware of it or not so aware of it, and usually it's a bit conditioned through what we might have been experiencing that particular day, or that particular week, or this particular life. So in my opinion, it's always quite interesting to propose a different texture, different type of density, different type of dynamic to my body. Becoming elastic. So that's the first 3 minutes, and we're continuing with this research into an elastic texture of a body. But for the next 3 minutes, we're focusing on different tempos. So still, you are researching into an elastic structure, an elastic texture, an elastic dynamic in your body. But for the next 3 minutes, focusing on trying out different tempos. So maybe being elastic very slowly in your neck, your shoulder, your hand. Maybe a lot slower than you would intuitively imagine, and a lot faster. Tempos can really be keys into different states of being. So experimenting with this for the next 3 minutes. For me, it also helps me sometimes just to let the whole body go into a tempo, and sometimes to be very specific, to come to a very particular body part. Always also use your breath. I was breathing quite heavy doing this, but I'm gonna spare you that in the audio. Muting the actual audio of me filming this. As I mentioned before, especially in this workout, the image does not really matter that much. I'm definitely here as an image to let you know that we are doing this together, and also to provide you visual inspiration if that helps you. But you could very well also just listen to this on your headphones as you do your own research. It's really not about what it looks like, but transforming your inner state of being, your inner texture, your inner landscape into an elastic one. Right now, we're doing that through the key of tempo. So that was 3 minutes. So we're moving to the third step, and the third step is what I call densities. What I mean by that is shifting your focus to how your body is compacting and expanding, which is one of the traits of elasticity, is contraction and expansion. But for this in particular, what I would like you to pay attention to is condensing and contracting without becoming rigid. So not becoming compact like concrete, but more becoming compact like a very thick liquid. As if you could maybe, what should we say, like mixing honey and oil, reducing the water in that, keep evaporating the water in that. So becoming more and more and more compact, but liquid at the same time, fluid, staying fluid. That really takes a lot of concentration, also mental concentration, to really dive deep into a body part, the body part that is compacting. And not to become rigid in that. And then elasticity is also expansion, and in expansion becoming more and more permeable, so that the part of your body that is expanding becomes like transparent. This is not necessarily something you would visually see if you're watching someone performing this, but what you would definitely feel and sense from this person is a very deep concentration and a very deep kind of marriage of their mind into the physicality of their body. So that's what we're doing, rather than pantomiming expansion and contraction. Yeah, this workout is something where it's really helpful to include your mind, because it is very much an inner research rather than a prescribed form. So that was the end of the first cycle of 3 exercises for 3 minutes. You can shake it out for a bit and find a new starting position, just like to start again afresh. And then we come back to the first 3 minutes, which is simply becoming elastic in each body part. You can do this part by part and in relation to. So for example, head becomes elastic in relation to your chest, or thighs become elastic in relation to your hips. You might have noticed that this is a bit systematic, that we make a differentiation between just becoming the texture elastic and then approaching it through tempos, and then thirdly to approach it through different densities. Of course, all of this can be within each other and is within each other. It's more a matter of just focusing on a certain access point in order to expand our vocabulary, so to speak. So to find more vocabulary within this proposition of elastic body. So we're back in the first one of our 3 chapters, which is just becoming elastic. If I get stuck, what helps sometimes is to be very rigorous. That, for example, I dive into the materiality of my brain and I let it become elastic. Elastic brain, elastic eyes. So even your seeing becomes elastic, your hearing becomes elastic, your sense of taste, your tongue, the whole length of your back, your thighs, your hips, your shoulders, your arms. Letting your body fall into an elasticity. Okay, and then that was 3 minutes, so let's come to the second chapter, which is tempos with this elastic body. Using tempos as a kind of a key to more vocabulary in an elastic texture. So there's no need for you to force your whole body into a tempo that is very, let's say, unusual for you. Sometimes we can also injure ourselves if we go too fast with the whole body. But what can help is that you just take one body part, let's say one arm or a foot or a leg or your hips or whatever, and you vary the body parts in that, because that will give you a feeling of more safety, feeling more safe in going a bit more extreme with being very fast and very slow. And once you feel a bit more comfortable, you can expand those tempos into other parts of your bodies. That's just an additional suggestion of how to continue this research. We do usually have some kind of a tempo that feels like our comfort zone. So it does help to jump into some kind of uncharted territories, trying out different tempos. I'm assuming that you're doing this workout at home or some other place that might not be like a perfect dance studio. So in my case, I often work out in my kitchen, which is quite cluttered. There's a lot of stuff in there. when you see me in these videos, these videos I filmed in a castle in France. That's not my daily life, honestly speaking. Usually I work out in my kitchen, which means that I'm a bit restricted in terms of the space, but that can also become interesting. So to include the furniture, the hardness, the densities of the structures around you, and then to become even more soft and even more elastic. So that was 3 minutes again. So let's switch to densities. So this is even more focus inwards, not in the sense that we stop moving, but we might move on much deeper levels. So as we are contracting and compacting, relaxing inwards, becoming more soft. This is counterintuitive, but a very interesting thing. And as we are expanding, becoming more permeable, transparent. So the stars shine through our bodies, shine through our physical existence. What is behind us, beneath us, just kind of shines through. Maybe not the first time you do this, but with time it becomes interesting to have different places in your body to be doing different things at the same time, so that there is something that is compacting and something that is expanding at the same time. Yeah, as I was saying earlier about the obstacles that might be in your space, they don't need to be obstacles, they could also be support, especially when we are doing these kind of exercises where we are in a way becoming really soft in our texture. The softer we become, the more anything around us can become a kind of a support. With this chapter of densities, it helps to go slow enough that you can actually feel this happening. It doesn't matter, you can go extremely, extremely slow. The important thing is that you feel your texture transforming, that you feel wherever you are bringing your attention in your body, that you're able to contract and compact in a soft way. Actually even relaxing more, becoming more spacious as you compact. And then also expanding. That was another 3 minutes, so you can release again, shake it out for a bit, take some deep breaths, tap your body if you want to. And then we will start with the last cycle. Once again, we are starting by becoming elastic. It's always good when we're doing these kind of workouts that actually require quite a lot of mental attention to not do it very long, to do it for a certain amount, and then to release, and then to start over again. So that's what we're doing right now. So we've had quite a bit of experience with this elastic thing already. Then we release it and we start again. Simply becoming elastic. Which at this point of the workout might already be something completely different than how you experienced it in the beginning. So that's also good to notice. And honestly, there's no wrong or right way to do this. So it's just good to also realize, this feels quite different, or I'm making this mean something quite different. Maybe not, maybe still quite the same from the beginning. Just to notice, this is part of your journey and part of your research, how things develop also. Of course, as we are researching, we're as much making a proposition to ourselves, to our body, heart, and mind, and kind of, giving a certain direction and being a bit strict about it. But at the same time, we need to, of course, also be very receptive and listening and feeling what is actually happening. How does this impact and collaborate with my being? This proposition that I'm giving my body. To me, that's kind of what makes something a research, is that we're proposing a direction and we're a bit strict about that, but at the same time, we are very receptive as to what happens in our mind, in our body, in our heart, in our perception of space, in our relationship to space, but also maybe in our relationship to what is happening outside of this space, our thoughts about certain things. Okay, we're changing back to tempos. We're back in the tempo chapter. Once again, releasing into tempo. By this point, your body's probably quite warmed up, so you can just let it go, let it do what it wants to do. I should have said this in the beginning, but I forgot. But anyway, there's no music in this workout part of this workout tutorial, which is deliberate so that you could actually choose your own music. This really, is an interesting additional component, especially for this kind of texture research. Dynamics of music can help us a lot. Then you can choose a music that for you relates to an elastic texture, if you want to. We're still in the tempos, seeing if maybe you find even different tempos than you have until now. Sometimes there's more than one tempo going on. Actually, probably all the time there's more than one tempo going on in the body in different places, just that we're mostly not aware of it. But you could bring your attention to that and become a bit of an elastic orchestra, different parts playing at the same time. Not just in the densities part, but in this whole workout routine, it's really helpful to keep letting go inwards. This doesn't mean that we should make it easy on ourselves, but especially when it becomes strenuous, to give ourselves space inwards. That usually helps in freeing up more space for more intensity. Okay, that was another 3 minutes, and then we come to our last densities section. Compacting, compacting, expanding, expanding. This is the last chapter, the last 3 minutes of our workout portion of this video, and then I have a kind of a improvisation section for you at the end where there is some music. I will also be improvising, and then you can take that time to just explore and taste and enjoy the space that you've created in your body through this kind of a bit more than 30 minutes of elastic body. Densities. This is such an interesting thing. Oftentimes we don't see that much from outside, but it actually really transforms the atmosphere around someone. If you, with your attention, dive really deep into the textures and structures of your body and allow them to compact and become very fluid at the same time, and allow them to expand and become very permeable at the same time. If it's difficult to do this, to imagine, of course it takes a lot of power of imagination also. What helps me is to do it in the mind, especially. I mean in the materiality of the brain. So expanding, becoming very permeable in the brain, contracting, becoming very liquid, falling inwards in the brain. And then from there expanding down the throat, letting this element touch the insides of the throat, the chest, the shoulders. Until the whole atmosphere around you changes. So thank you so much for your concentration and your focus. I know that this kind of thing is not quite easy, especially because there's not so much physical form to it. It's more your own research, so it really requires your attention. So thank you for hanging in there. I hope you gained something from this. And let's start our improvisation. Just enjoying, dancing, moving with what is left in your body. Watch me for inspiration if you want to. Follow your own threads. You can turn off the video completely and just listen. And enjoy, and let me know how it went for you, and see you next time. Ciao.